There must have been some reason to go there.
I saw her. She's on
Two people working.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how they do, how long they like? Figure out how to get it on that sweet. How long that
She's
It's like crying. Shit.
Jesus.
Well.
All right, our highly tuned, atomically powered clock says it's exactly 7 o'clock, so we'll call the meeting to order for the Common Council on Monday, August 19th. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Coffey, present. Councilmember Olson here. Councilmember Sharkey,
present.
Councilmember Rowe, Councilmember McNerney here.
The process of salary reviews, we always look at our medical cost and what our employees will have to be paying out of their pocket for medical coverage. We were hoping this year that cost would not see an increase, and that hope has come into reality. We have got the official notification there will be no increase for our employees for their share of medical coverage costs next year. So the pay raise will all go straight to them when they will not have to pay any more for medical coverage next year. Good news. This week I'll be down in Madison for the rest of the week. I'll be home sometime on Friday. The International Conference of Mayors is taking place in Madison, Indiana, so I'll be traveling to Madison. We'll have my phone if anybody needs me, but Dave, be aware that I'm out of town. Request approval of the August 5th minutes.
There's a term.
So moved.
First and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The minutes of the July 1st Board of Public Works and Safety meeting is presented for your information. Unfinished business, ordinance number 1760, 2024, an ordinance fixing the compensation of elected officials in the city of Angola, Indiana for the year 2025. This is second reading. You have a motion and a second?
Second.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make an amendment to the ordinance. I would like to remove from section A, points 2 and 3.
Okay, section 1 and section 2?
I'm sorry, section 1 and 2.
And section 2 both?
Yes.
Okay. And that is a motion?
Question, if we remove that, then I believe that we could remove section B altogether.
Yes.
Because the salary would already be a set amount.
Yes, sir, I agree. I would make that additional too.
That is a motion?
Yes, sir.
Do we have a second to the amendment?
I have a question. I'm not sure I understood what Dave was saying. A, 2 and 3 you're removing?
No,
That's what your motion is?
I misspoke. I don't necessarily see the need now to have certification, so I think.
Okay, well, that's what I wanted to be sure of, but
I misspoke. So I say, let's get rid of the certification class.
okay, that's what I thought you meant, but you said,
Yeah.
I thought you said section A, and then we wouldn't have any salary ordinance.
Yeah, hypothetically, could that be returned at a later date?
Council can do whatever they want. The motion is a second? Was a second on the amendment? So we'll vote on the amendment first. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye. Or nay.
And the original motion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
I have a question. The original motion as amended?
As amended, yes.
Okay, I'll be sure. Aye. Yes.
Okay. We need a roll call on the original motion as amended.
No, I got it.
Okay. Very good. Any other unfinished business? Hearing none, new business, ordinance number 1761, 2024, an ordinance amending the zoning map of the city of Angola. This is at 3076 South, 150 West. First reading. Retha, you want to give a short synopsis of the zoning change?
Yes, so this property is a 10-acre property in the ETJ off of 150 West. And he is requesting a rezone to agricultural from R1. With ag, he has a property, he meets all the development standards for ag. He'd like to put up a bigger outbuilding that he cannot do under R1, but he can do under ag. So he has requested a rezone. It was a positive recommendation from our plan commission to the council.
This is in the ETJ. correct?
Yes,
Was it unanimous by the planning commission?
yes. Yeah, there were no questions or concerns that I remember. And Mr. Custer's here if you have any questions, but surrounding it is all ag properties as well. He's the only little corner of R1 there.
Entertain a motion?
I move that we approve the motion as presented.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Everything you'd like to add before we take a vote?
Nope.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, ordinance number 1762, 2024, an ordinance amending the Angola Municipal Code, Title 13, Public Services, Chapter 13.1, Sewer, first reading.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion is second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Request approval of the proposed grants and subsidies for 2025 totaling $40,945. And Ryan, correct my memory, but I don't think we made any changes year over year, did we?
No, these are, they stay pretty consistent. Yeah, we changed them for a little while. These are just the small grants and subsidies that we write checks for right after the beginning of the year for local organizations.
Part of the initial budgeting process.
I'll move to approve the request for the proposed grants and subsidies for 2025.
Motion is second, any discussion?
I got some questions.
Sure.
I've just got a philosophical problem with the government agency doing charitable giving. And I just wondered how this got started.
If I could address that, maybe,
Please.
just not sure about exact details, but take the animal shelter. Back when I was young, the stray dogs would be picked up by the police, taken to the sewer plant where there's this horrible big old cage, and they'd be kept there for a while. Dogs would run the streets, and that was a problem. When the Humane Society was organized in the early 70s, the mid 70s, the problem went away. Police no longer have to mess with dogs running around. It's a benefit to the town, to the city in general. Same way with the homeless shelter. To have a place for homeless people to go is a tremendous quality of life benefit, not only to them, but to the citizenry. So when I look at the charitable contributions from that exact perspective, Councilman Coffey, I look to see, is there a general public benefit? And if there is, I think legally that it's an appropriate use of public funds. Kind of surprised to see the Cahoots Coffee Cafe and wondering what that got on there.
I cannot tell you how that got.
That was one I was looking at specifically because
The rest of them have a
Yeah.
overall
they're taking
social.
over a government function. As Mr. Schaub's saying, I see that with the animal shelter. I see that even with the literacy. I don't see it with the YMCA, and I don't see it with Cahoots, and that's why I had a
YMCA is a Begin to Swim program. That's for a specific program. We do have a lot of retaining ponds. They teach young kids how to.
And
The idea is to prevent young death.
we had that very discussion when that came up.
With those after school activities.
Is that what it was?
That's where.
That's actually mentioned in the
with all
Oh,
these.
cahoots,
with all
I'm
these
sorry, I was
comes a,
thinking Kaleos,
Kaleo,
yeah, cahoots, yeah.
With all these come a grant agreement, basically, that those organizations sign and return to us before we disperse the funds. And Cahoots, it does mention after-school programs.
I was misreading that in my brain as Kaleo, so yeah, that would fit into the same thing, helping the young people stay off, whatever. So I think it's a lawful expenditure of public funds.
Thank you.
Do they make a request then for the dollar amount? Is that how that got established?
How it began, just to begin with.
To begin with, okay.
Yes,
And then it's
and-
been continuing
And
on.
from time to time, around this time of year, some of these organizations will come in and ask for.
It's, okay.
It has not happened this year, but it has in years past. That's how some of them get bumped up. They come in and lay out their thinking and their plan, and here's why we believe we need it. And debate about it. But that's why there's all kinds of different numbers you see in here. At one time, there was some kind of justification of why we do it this way.
Thank you.
And it hasn't really changed too much over the years.
I don't think we've seen a change in,
Not much addition. So
well, 23, 24, 25,
Same.
they're all the same, but we have had them come in the past and bump them up. The humane shelter used to be on this list. Now we do a contract with services with them, so we've taken them off that list. We have a direct contract with them as opposed to having them on this particular list. Although that was a very good question. Councilmember Coffey, very good question. Let's see, we have a motion, a second.
Yes.
Any discussion? Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Request approval of the proposed for engineering services with Curry and Associates, Inc. for the City of Angola wastewater utility master plan study in the amount of $78,000. And Amanda, would you, or Jeff, one of the two of you kind of, or both of you give us a.
We can arm wrestle over it.
Toss a coin for all I
Come up
care.
here, please.
Pretty weak.
So this is a study that will look at specifically our existing wastewater infrastructure. So it's going to look at our existing plant, our major lift stations, and our major arteries of our infrastructure, kind of where we're at now as we see growth in the city in various directions. How do we need to grow with that, with the sanitary side? Just really a planning tool that we have that's, as we probably will need to do expansions in the future to help us kickstart that.
This started from a position of we do have several developers. We're talking in various different areas, nothing firm, but we want to make sure that when we say we can serve that area, or we want to know that we can't and what we need to do to correct that. We're just trying to be proactive in our future planning. Is that a fair?
Yes, absolutely.
Jeffy?
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Is there something targeted specifically in these, or is this just a general?
It's kind of like at the end of the year, I get an annual report and it tells you the total capacity of the sewer plant at the end of the year. We average around 65%. You hit 75 to 80%, they can shut us down on building. So we need to know when we need to look at expanding the plant to take another 1 million gallons of flow for the constant building and growing of Angola.
would this also be useful for grant?
Absolutely. Yeah. We anticipate needing to expand the wastewater plant within 10 years. And that is a
That's a good thing,
double-digit
though.
$1 million project. I mean, that
Probably
would be-
conservative estimate too, shouldn't it?
Yes.
I guess what I was wondering, this isn't because of the Pokagon expansion.
No.
It's just the growth that's anticipated in the city.
Correct. Like the mayor said, we want to be confident when a developer comes in to say, yes, we can serve you. Right now, we think so. We want something a little more, concrete.
Many years ago, we had a developer that wanted to build an apartment complex in town, and the city administration said, sure, go right ahead. And so they acquired the land, they started doing planning, we started working on zoning. Then we eventually found out that we could not serve them sewer service for collection or treatment either way. And their next stop was to file a lawsuit against us for misrepresenting what we could and couldn't do. The idea here is to ward off those type of threats and make sure we know what we're talking about. And when we say we can do something, we know we can do something. Anyway, motion?
I would move, I'm sorry, was there already a motion?
No.
I would move that we approve the.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Request approval of the scope annex to the engagement letter with Baker Tilly Municipal Advisory Group, LP, for municipal advisory services, debt issuance, sewer utility, and the amount of $60,000. And there's actually two of them because there's two different agreements. I'll take them one at a time, and I'll let Ryan fill you in on what we're doing here.
Okay, so this goes along with the Pokagon project and the zero interest loans basically we're taking on through the IFA for some of our other projects that they've offered to us since we are completing the Pokagon project. This is for the financial work that needs to be done before we have the debt issuance and we're allowed to actually sign any bonds. So this is for each utility. We had a conference call with Baker Tilly today, the mayor and Amanda and myself. We've had some talks back and forth with IFA. We think that my guess is right now at least a portion of this is going to be reimbursed through IFA because it'll be considered part of the expense of the actual Pokagon project, which they're picking up the bill for. But in the meantime, we need to get these letters signed so we can start getting the work done. And the city will be paying it, but we'll be getting reimbursed, hopefully for at least a portion of it.
Just as a direct reminder, taking on the Pokagon project that the state is paying for, they also offered to pick up some of our capital expenditure programs that we were going to do anyway, not related to the project, and give us interest-free money for 20 years to do those additions or improvements. So we are going to take advantage of all the interest-free money that we can get. And this relates to this issue.
We approve the,
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion?
Oh, and the reason that it's listed that way, other than just agreement for services, is basically we already earlier in the year did a letter of engagement with them so they could begin the asset plans. So basically, they're just altering that engagement by adding this appendix to that. That's why it doesn't say professional service agreement. So, thank you.
Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And item number 6, request approval of the scope appendix to engagement letter with Baker Tilly Municipal Advisory Group, LP, for municipal advisory services, debt issuance, water utility in the amount of $60,000. And the same goes for this particular issue.
Move to approve the amendment.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Request approval of the lien and utility bad debt report totaling $3,035.88 for the 12th month ending 12/31/2023.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion second, any discussion?
Brian, do we have, I've been doing this for a long time now. Do we, it sounds awful. Do we keep a list of names of these people who don't pay their debt, and if they come back in another year and say, hey, I decided I want to have water again, and they go, it's not an Etch-a-Sketch, is it?
No.
And they start over, or can we get them for
We
this?
still have a bad debt list, yeah. And actually, some things are still with Trex at the state, and they can still receive money. So
So potentially some of these guys, if they came back to Angola, we could get.
yes, this is a housekeeping matter. Yearly, we do it. at a specific time so we can remove it from the books, basically.
I assume the lien would still be there that comes with the water, the sewer line. I know there's not a lot.
Yeah, those go on the tax rolls.
Okay. Thanks.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Clerk Treasurer Depository Statement and Cash Reconciliation. For the month ending July 2024 is presented for your information. Reports. Ryan, what do you got for us tonight?
Nothing for me.
Attorney Schiff, what do you got for us this evening?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Rita.
Main Street is doing the Hometown Hero banners again for this year, so they will be installed again on Veterans Day, November. So if anybody is interested or just know that that's getting redone, the banners are going to look a little different this year. But also Trine is hosting Trine Fest this weekend on Saturday, 12 to 4 downtown. They have done it years past. I guess this is the third year. During the week in the evening. So this is the first time that they're doing that on a Saturday and it's open to the public. And then you guys have probably noticed Fast Pace is moving along fastly. It's had to say at a fast pace. So they're coming along well. Brett is doing a good job managing those projects. So we've got a couple other things that are coming down the pipe soon. But that's it.
Chief. No report. Jeff.
No report, sir.
Sue.
No report.
Tom.
No report.
Amanda.
We're looking to schedule a public meeting for the Pokagon project. We have a tentative date, but once that gets finalized, I'll make sure you guys know. It will be put on by the engineers, talking mostly about routes, easement acquisition, really for the property owners, but I'll make sure you guys know about it.
Chief.
We had our written and physical assessment over the weekend for the 9 applicants. We had 5 applicants show up. And we had 1 applicant finish the written and the physical. So we will be taking 1 applicant through and see how they do through the rest of our process. That's where we are with that.
A little further ahead than we were last time.
That is a correct statement.
So look at the rate. That
Yes.
is a good thing. That I got?
That's all I got.
Okay. Request approval of the allowance of accounts payable voucher 70,109 to 70,328 totaling $1,241,924.04, which includes interfund transfers of $120,987.56.
I move we pay the bills.
That used to be somebody else.
Yeah, I know, he's somebody else's
Oh, I
line.
stole it. Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any other new business? We had a mayor one time with a couple council members, that was always his biggest dread at every council meeting, when he'd ask that question, because he never knew what was gonna happen. So I thank you for that. Next meeting is, for the common council, is Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. Tuesday. We are adjourned.
Tacos and casino.
Read it.
Promise my wife I'd be back. It'll be a lot more.